Coming up on First at 4, a new Secret Service director has been named after the previous one resigns. We'll take a look at the continued response after former President Donald Trump's assassination attempt. And 2 suspects reportedly involved in a Perry County triple shooting were in court today. What's happening in that case? Coming up.
And in the world of weather, we have rain chances continuing across the area. We'll time everything out in a few minutes.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, the embattled director of the Secret Service is stepping down following security failures that led to the assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. CBS's Natalie Brand has the latest from the White House.
Facing pressure from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle resigned her position. In a letter, she said the scrutiny over the last week has been intense and will continue to remain as our operational tempo increases. As your director, I take full responsibility for the security lapse.
I'm glad she did the right thing. Look, our reaction, the immediate reaction to her resignation is that it is overdue. She should have done this at least a week ago.
Cheadle's departure comes one day after a heated hearing focused on the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. The shooting at his Pennsylvania rally killed retired firefighter Corey Comparatori.
I'm not going to get into specifics of that day.
Lawmakers hammered her over how the gunman made it onto a roof 500 feet from the former president and why Trump was allowed to take the stage when agents had been told up to 5 times about a suspicious person.
The lack of answers and the lack of report is just simply not something that we can accept here.
Charles Marino is a former special agent for the Secret Service.
I think now it's time to move on from the individual, which was becoming a distraction, and focus longer term on the agency and make sure they come out on the backside of all of these investigations and reviews much stronger.
House Oversight Chair James Comer, in a statement, called Cheadle's resignation a step toward accountability, but said he expects a full review of how the security failures happened. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas appointed Secret Service Deputy Director Ronald L. Rowe to act as interim director of the agency. He's been with the agency for 24 years. Vice President Kamala Harris traveled to Milwaukee today for her first rally since announcing her presidential campaign. On Monday, CNN's delegate estimate shows she has secured enough delegate endorsements to win the Democratic presidential nomination. Earlier this week, major Democratic elected officials there in Wisconsin endorsed her campaign, including Governor Tony Evers and Senator Tammy Baldwin. Vice President Harris has also been endorsed by Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear. Governor Beshear told me earlier today that at this point, all his conversations with Harris have been about her seeking the presidency and her seeking his support. However, there are now conflicting reports about whether he might still be among the top picks for Harris's running mate.
Listen, it's flattering, but it ought to be flattering to Kentucky. And everybody of any party ought to feel good that they're looking at us. The country is looking at us and saying we need to be more like that.
Governor Beshear says he plans to finish his second term right now, but if asked to join the Democratic ticket, it is something he will have to consider. We will have more of my interview with Governor Beshear tonight at 6 and the full interview about this topic and the second anniversary of the 2022 flood, Monday night at 7 on Issues and Answers. Texas Democrats are trying to block independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. from getting on that state's ballot. They claim most of the signatures on Kennedy's ballot petition failed to meet Texas state requirements. Independent presidential candidates must submit more than 113,000 valid signatures to qualify for their ballot. Democrats say many of the signatures submitted violate state laws, which would render his petition invalid.
Well, we're seeing another shower and thunderstorm push through portions of eastern Kentucky this afternoon. Here's the latest with live pinpoint Doppler radar, and you're noticing over towards Pikeville, Hazard, over towards Middlesboro, and then just to the west of Middlesboro, over towards McCreary and Whitley County, seeing some heavy rain and thunderstorm activity at this hour. And you're noticing as we take a look at the past 3 hours how it's now taking that southwest to northeasterly movement. So this is something we'll be keeping an eye on over the next several hours as rain chances remain in the forecast. Right now, we're seeing temperatures in the upper 70s and low 80s. We're at 79 Hazard, 81 Jackson, 81 Irvin, as well as Moorhead. Ashland's at 84, 73 is the current temperature in Clintwood, as well as Wise. London is checking in with a temperature of 79. Next 12 hours keeps temperatures in the upper 70s and low 80s by 7 p.m. When you wake up in the morning, we'll see temperatures in the upper 60s and low 70s, making for another mild evening across the area. Now, rain chances will continue for a little bit, but will we get a break from them? I'll have that answer in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes. Steve.
Eric, thank you. 2 people facing charges after a shooting in Perry County appeared in court today for a preliminary hearing. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox was at the courthouse and tells us what happened.
Police testified in district court Tuesday morning with what they say is evidence they have gathered so far from the Poly Hollow shooting. 2 men, Anthony Crow Stidham and Braxton Marlowe, were reportedly shot and killed by Trustin Combs. KSP Detective Scott Cottle said Combs began shooting into a crowd of people in what appeared to be a strip job party. Cottle testified that Combs also shot David Sumner, who received emergency heart surgery as a result. Sumner's aunt gave an update on his condition.
David is still fighting. He's a warrior. We want to thank everyone for all the kind words, the prayers, and everything they've done for the family, and just keep on praying for our boy.
Police said Combs was driven to and from the scene by Emily Collins, who was charged with complicity to murder. Collins' charge was changed to facilitate murder after further evidence from the hearing. In Perry County, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, coming up at 6, more about why Collins' charge was changed and her attorney's reaction. A Central Kentucky woman is accused of abusing her daughter. Police say the abuse includes strangulation and imprisonment in a dog kennel. According to a complaint warrant, Sheila Mann's 10-year-old daughter told police in a forensic interview that Mann threatened to slit her throat. The child also reportedly told police that Mann strangled her and she was forced to stay in a dog kennel for several days.
The child, who is under the age of 12, had disclosed to investigators that Miss Mann had locked her inside a dog kennel type cage for 2 to 3 days at a time, and would only allow her to exit that cage just to use the bathroom.
WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke with Mann from jail today. Tonight at 11, we'll take a closer look at the case and why Mann says it is all just a big misunderstanding. A part of Main Street in downtown Hazard was blocked off today. It's still blocked off at last check. Now this is why. Officials say an old cast iron pipe ruptured, and at one time, as you can see, water was shooting into the air next to the grand outdoor space. They've got Main Street blocked off beginning at Taxi Alley. Crews spent much of the day trying to make repairs. Coming up on First at 4, body camera footage shows the moments leading up to the death of an Illinois woman, why family members say the footage is so shocking.
And keep the umbrella handy as we go throughout the next couple of days as rain chances are in the forecast. Details in a few minutes. Stay with us.